Welcome to Solutions Rising. I'm Rachel Branch, and I am truly honored to welcome two very distinguished women on our program. Anaelisa Jacobsen, a licensed clinical social worker, and Gloria Caballero Roca, PhD. Dr. Caballero Roca will co-host this program with me and has been a co-host and guest many times. She and I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing Anaelisa Jacobsen. Welcome to both of you, Anaelisa and Gloria. If I may call you by first names.
Claro que sí.
First, I want to quote something I found incredibly beautiful that Anaelisa wrote about her father. Her father's legacy of giving his heart to others is mine through Manos Unidas. I once wrote a poem that my backbone is of the Americas. My roots run to the deep south of the mountain ranges of my ancestors and the oceans that wash pebbles like my father, burnished by the man of many lands. I think that's an incredible description of your father.
Thank you so much. I feel honored that you shared that.
Anaelisa Jacobsen is the co-founder and director emeritus of Manos Unidas, Multicultural Educational Cooperative. She is a therapist and filling so many other important community positions. So, Anaelisa, I usually start off the program by saying, will you tell our audience whatever you would like to share about your background and heritage? And
Wow, that's a very important leading question. Thank you, Rachel,
Yes.
for your wisdom and vision that you bring to this wonderful show. My heritage, well, I think the passage you read describes really well the sense of kind of gypsiness and crossing two borders and standing in between them that my family has experienced. On one side of my family, we had Holocaust survivors, we believe.
wow.
Who went to Panama and made a life for themselves in Panama. And my maternal grandmother, her mother died in childbirth, but she was born and raised in Panama, and she also lived in the hillsides of Panama with her Swedish grandparents for some time. So she was born speaking three languages. I mean, she was raised speaking three languages. And that is kind of very endemic in our family in a beautiful way. We're all multilingual. And on my father's side, he was his father was Danish, and all we think Jewish, kind of in hiding Jewish. And that's, so I have Jewish on both sides, actually.
Which you had to be during World War II.
Yes.
The Holocaust,
exactly,
we cannot forget.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's coursing through me. And his father was a brilliant geologist, and he worked for Exxon and in Venezuela, where he raised his family. And he really became a Venezuelan. So did my father, and they were born and raised there, and his many siblings. And they grew up in Venezuela in a time when Venezuela was, at one of its richest moments. There was a lot of abundance, there was a lot of oil money, and I look at that now in contrast to what
Fossil
Venezuelans
fuels.
are living through right now.
Yes.
There are a lot of contrasts, and so I like to think, I guess, in conclusion about this aspect, I think I've always thought of myself as someone who straddles both worlds, both the north and the south of those mountain ranges I talk about, as well as multiple languages, as well as understanding, some of my family was oligarchy in Panama, for instance, and at the same time, there was, death and struggle early on. I feel like I always feel like that's why my mission is to be with Underheard, because I feel those both paths. I feel the, you know, my Jewish people fleeing, and I feel other people, you know, abundant with riches, and how do those two sides of me come together?
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I think it speaks to all the community work you've been doing since I've met you, since I've known you. For how long now? I know, mucho tiempo, mucho tiempo. Y ha sido, and it's been a work of, you know, resilience, of empowerment to other people, of acknowledging the wisdom and the, you know, the spiritual light that we all carry, while forging paths, you know, of community, of understanding, of multilingual, multiculturalism. And I would love it for you to please share with the audience, what is Manos Unidas? ¿Qué es Manos Unidas?
Claro que sí. Entonces, I think you brought up something, you know, I think that it really is based on my kind of the way my reality has been informed by multiculturalism and multilingualism. And the fact that I had the privilege, because my mother was a very hardworking mother, and she worked at the Steiner School in Great Barrington. And in a million years, I never would have been able to attend if she wasn't working there, because I got a full scholarship. And yeah, and so that's how I had the privilege. Again, it's that privilege thing coming in. I know it was a privilege to go to this school that was so rich in culture and art and kind of this uplift of the world. And I think all of these things come to bear on why I felt like so drawn to co-found this Manos Unidas. And Manos Unidas was actually founded in 1997. It's been a lot of years now. And I think it's almost 26, is that right? My math isn't the best, but I think it's somewhere in that range.
Yes.
And essentially, I had been living in Colombia with the father of my children, who's to this day my best friend. And Colombia, you know, completely changed my life because, you know, I wanted to go to Venezuela. There was no exchange program in Venezuela, so I ended up in Colombia. And I think the way it informed me is that I realized that art is an essential tool for social change. It's an essential tool for discovering the power we have within us, you know, even despite incredibly dire and terrible circumstances sometimes. And between art and culture, I think that's really where I started formulating kind of my seed, my life dream to uplift the people in these ways. And my partner Diego was a huge part of building that dream, and we came together with multiple different immigrants, a lot of them from Colombia, El Salvador, and quite a few other places, Honduras, to kind of create this sense of refuge in a time when, you know, when we started Manos Unidas, there were children in the Lee public schools who were getting rocks thrown at them, you know, and basically being called spick. I mean, really, really sad things were happening. And so we stepped in to intervene in those situations. We helped quite a few Central Americans get their kind of, trying to remember, for some reason I'm forgetting the exact name of it, but I think you probably know, Gloria, that there was a special status conferred on people, especially from El Salvador and Central America, due to, you know, the war and the Civil War.
The violence.
Yeah. So,
special visas, maybe, or the special documentation
it was essentially asylum status. We had people apply for that.
Yes.
And I'm very proud of that, because now, all these years later, we have a very solid Salvadorian community who feels like this is home. And I think that whole process is like part of feeling like there's a refuge and like there's a welcoming that happens, and a sense of like you're one with us, and you know, we want to uplift you and see you shine.
You've built a phenomenal community of love and caring and support.
Yes, and I do believe Che Guevara actually said that something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing, he said something like, you know, let me describe to you that, you know, kind of, I am motivated, I'm paraphrasing, and it's so much beautiful the way he said it, but I'm motivated by deep love. That's how I can do this work. And I feel so deeply that way. And I also just want to say again, my father, who you know, was, you know, mentioned in the beginning. My father was, you know, is actually a hippie. Yeah, my mother too. And you know, he had extremely long hair and wandered, you know, the world, kind of sowing love, and amazing songwriter, singer, you know, everywhere, minstrel with his guitar, and you know, he fled to Nicaragua during the Vietnam War, and lived on a farm and farmed so that he wouldn't be drafted. He really is a peacemaker. And he also, I would say, his values are very much infused in the work that I do. And as you know, a girl raised by an artist, I think that is flowing through me. We've been singing as a trio with my father since I was like born. Like he would come and sing in the bedroom to wake us up in the morning, and we are a family. We all sing together. We taught our children how to sing, and we actually have a family time on Sundays where we all sing together every single week over Zoom. We have a very unusual.
Well, I've said many times that artists, musicians, writers, those are the visionaries of our world, and we need them. And when you're talking about, I found it interesting that you use the term gypsy and calling your father a hippie. And I think of all the places I lived and say, acculturated, you know, I've been acculturated. And, but these are people that we are people who have traveled and lived many different places and brought all this together, because you're absolutely right. The universal connection is love. You have to have love in what you're doing to be able to spread whatever gifts you have to others.
Oh, yes.
But then when you have love, it's because whatever you're going to do, you believe in that.
Yes.
It's not that belief.
Yes.
A motivation,
Yes.
you know, and the focus of, okay, this is going to be transformative because it's going to transform me while I transform people.
Precisamente. Es co-creación de otra realidad.
Sí.
And yeah, this co-creative process, I think, is why I've been able to do this for 26 years, because it is essentially healing for me as well as those around us. And I think that we found that there's so many modalities we can work in. We're helping people build, you know, their own dreams, their own cooperatives, all these other aspects. And I think that one thing we found is art is like this central kind of fulcrum point for people coming together across difference and creating something that kind of edges us towards a different tomorrow that we were creating together, you know. And so that's why if you walk in our space at Redefine, you'll see that we have, you know, murals everywhere. They've all been created in co-creation with our children, our youth who struggle, our families who may be new immigrants, you know, all of these people working together. We have a lot of people who are coming out of addiction, people who are, you know, currently homeless. The melding of very different perspectives and worlds is so empowered by art and by these kind of you know, mechanisms we created that bring people together. Another of those, for instance, is breaking bread together. And you both have seen that in action, I believe.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
Yes.
Would you, now that you've mentioned Redefined program, would you describe what Redefined program is? And then I'm going to come back to one or the other of you and say, would you please describe Manos Unidas? Am I saying that correctly? In Spanish, if you will.
Oh, está perfecto. Claro que sí.
Yes.
Sí, sí.
Entonces, redefine, is actually kind of like, almost like, I see it as like maybe a precursor or a sister to what will emerge at our building that was donated by an amazing donor who probably doesn't want us to mention his name too much, but I will say amazing human, thank you. Which will be called Resurge, which in English is resurge.
Resurge.
Resurge. So you see there's the
Yes.
renewal,
Yep.
And so these little nodes of life that we're creating. Redefine is the space that Christina Cardot and other visionaries involved, including Nicole Fecto and Mari Morengo and others, we kind of had this opportunity to have a space that was, really low in rent as an interim, and we, kind of jumped on it all together and just started inviting all of our community who's been organizing for years to bring their voice, their skill, their talent, their love to the table. And what's evolved from that has been really beautiful in only a year's time, which tells me that that there's a deep need for this. There's like a yearning in our society for these spaces of connection. And I don't know if you guys have been through Pittsfield. I know you have actually driven through Pittsfield. There's several of those light boxes that have been painted, right? And one of them, my favorite, says, "You belong." You belong. And I feel that's absolutely essential because on a spiritual level, I think it was Carl Jung perhaps who said that kind of one of the kind of desperations of our time is that people don't have that sense of like belonging to something bigger than themselves. We get so trapped in this kind of materialist mindset, this like hyper focused on money and these things that are just kind of eventually fall away. What really matters is our energy connection to all that is, and that includes other humans, and that includes life on earth, and that includes la tierra. It includes all these things, right? We are that. So I feel like creating a sense of belonging in people who are going through struggle is absolutely like a huge esperanza, a huge hope. And I think that when you have all these disparate voices at the table, that's what you can create if you have this kind of petri jar of elements that can work together towards that hope.
And that's exactly what the United States was supposed to be about.
Exacto.
Yes, and Gloria and I have talked about we need a revolution of hope and action.
Hope and action.
Yes, and action, muy importante. Muy importante.
Most important.
Most
no
important.
Es solo palabra, es acción.
Yes. How to transform, as Audre Lorde used to say, thoughts into words and words into action.
I see.
So we've been talking and talking, perhaps organizing, but then for me the real action would be national strike, people on the street, meet one-on-one to acknowledge everyone's, humanity. We are all suffering. You could be a rich, wealthy people, but I'm sure you would like to see better schools for everybody. I am sure someone in your family is going through any problem, health issue. I am sure you would like not to declare bankruptcy because you got sick. You see what I'm saying? So why don't we just talk about what really unites us?
What really unites us?
So much.
Where are our commonalities?
Our commonalities. Yes. Forget about our looks. No. We are sacred human beings.
Sacred human beings.
And that's why when you created Manos Unidas, which is, how do you translate Manos Unidas?
It's funny. There have been
Manos
people
is
over
hands.
time who, of course, don't speak Spanish, right? And so we've said, oh, how will you really translate
Yes.
this? And of course, you could say hands united. That's the direct translation. But
Yeah.
we came up with actually kind of in the visceral sense, in the ethereal sense, it really is like many hands together.
Together, yes.
That's what it means
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You know. Ooh. I get a little excited.
No, yeah.
Even if you actually hold it, it's okay.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
hold-
So,
yeah.
but get it up near your mouth. So
Yeah.
Palm of my hand.
yeah. But you have to put it so we can hear you hear you speaking. Yes. But yes.
And there's so much history that the people are not aware. They don't know about the
Exacto.
history of the United States.
Yes.
The history of Latin America and the relationships with this country. and with,
Precisamente.
and why are we here? Where is that coming from? Why do we need to get together and just, hold
Exacto.
hand as human beings and
Exacto.
confront this system of oppression and patriarchy,
Exacto.
and destruction?
Yeah.
That's where we should, action should be focused
Exacto.
on.
And as we know, in Latin America, this is talked about a lot, right? Is like divide and conquer is kind of
still going on.
Right, exactly. That's how oppression happens, right?
Yes, yes.
Which is why it's even more crucial that we come together with this common ground.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And in our case, the common ground at this moment is like a physical space, but more than that, I feel like we're creating a spiritual space, right? Where everyone matters. It doesn't matter if you're, coming off the street and you haven't bathed in 10 days, it doesn't matter. Like, you're a human, you're here, and we're here, It's, yeah.
But the allowance of just what you're talking about in the United States is just appalling.
Oh, yeah.
And unconscionable.
Oh, yeah.
We shouldn't have people sleeping on the streets or hungry, or we've talked about this before on
claro.
programs. And of course, one of the reasons I do this program is because we can all use the link to get it wherever we want, and all three of us know that it's not sitting here just
Yeah.
talking about it. That is one of the action forms, is to talk about, get it out there, but then show up and be present and help solve the problem.
Yes, and
Yeah.
help
Help
solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Which is why the title of your program is so important, Solutions Rising.
Yeah.
Because I think our society often will focus on the problems, not on the solutions, and that divides people.
That's one of the reasons I wanted you to be a guest on Solutions Rising, because you have created real solutions
Yeah.
that are allowing everybody who comes into your presence or part of your program to use their gifts to be part of the solution. So everybody is included.
Así
Yeah.
es.
It's not like just, okay, come in and get some clothes or some food. It's the sense of community that you've created, an incredible sense of
Yes.
community that you have created.
Ay, gracias, Moe. I just wanted to mention one solution that I think is really interesting, that we're embodying, among others. We actually have a Mujeres Moviendo Montañas, which is a women's collective, Latino women's collective, which I'd love you to visit. And out of that, we started by asking each woman what their dream is, their most urgent dream at this moment. And one of the women had, just walked here from Colombia only like 8 months ago, and just spoke no English at all, and was trying to finish high school. And she said, I have to learn English so that my life will change. And so we came up with this model to do a bilingual English-Spanish class. And it has been absolutely fascinating. I don't know another class in the entire region that is like this. So what it's Monday nights. It's for an hour and a half. We actually had to extend the time because people are having so much fun learning.
Yeah.
And what's so cool is we have people come who have their whole lives wanted to learn Espanol. And we have people come who their whole lives have wanted to learn English. And
I'm one of them, Anaelisa. I had friends in Denver who spoke Spanish, and I said, "Oh, I have to learn." No, Rachel will translate for you. No, and I've had 8th grade conversational Spanish, so I understand a lot. But
Well, you should come, and now we have a Zoom link even.
Well, Anaelisa, if people would like to know about your program, this
Yes.
class, for instance, how can they contact you or know about the program?
yes, and fundraising also.
Yes.
Thank you. They can contact, I would give Luis, who's the teacher's name and number, but I don't have it exactly on me, but I'll say they can contact me at 413-841-0298. Texting is best. I get a lot of communications every day.
We also have your website, Manos
Is your
Unidas.
website?
Yes.
Do you want to?
Yes, please.
It's on the screen.
Oh,
there,
that's,
you can see it.
email.
And,
Yeah.
and my email's at the end. If someone can't find you, I can get them to
Claro
you.
que sí.
Yeah.
I will also just want to say we are now a network of co-ops. We started as Manos Unidas Cooperative, and now we have multiple people putting their dreams in action and creating co-ops. So our sister co-op is Roots and Dreams, which is
And mustard seeds. I
and
love
mustard
that
seeds. Isn't that
name.
beautiful?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah,
It is
so that's
beautiful.
Nicole, who came up through Manos and is still co-directors of Manos, but founded with Michael, a co-op that's a sister co-op, and essentially we share multiple roles. Like they do a lot of administrative
Yeah.
for all the co-ops developing, and this model is very, very engaging, and I think it's a really workable model for our world.
Can people they can find out how to contribute by going to Manos Unidas?
ManosUnidasOrg@gmail.com.
Or, yeah.
The website that I think,
Yeah,
maybe.
we put the
Yeah,
website's on there
The
right
link,
now,
okay.
so we can find out how to contribute. And believe it or not, we have run out of time.
How did that happen?
I
Because
know.
because it gives
No
me.
puedo creer.
And I would love it if one of you would say my signature line in
No, you say
Spanish.
it.
I'll say it in English.
A ver.
A ver.
All right. So if each one of us picked up one problem and solved it, imagine the incredible view we would all have of solutions rising. I am so incredibly grateful to Dr. Caballero Roca and licensed clinical social worker Anaelisa Jacobsen. Please come back again. We have so much more to talk
No
about.
espero. I mean, this is
Sí.
just one seed of a whole garden, right?
It's just a mustard seed.
Yeah, just a
Small,
mustard seed.
so it's going to keep spreading.
Claro
okay?
que
Sí. Si cada uno de nosotros y nosotras escogiéramos un problema y le diéramos solución a ese problema,
Así es.
imagínense la cantidad de flores que puede salir
Sí,
de esto, ¿verdad?
claro que sí, todo
y de
un jardín,
soluciones,
un
todo un
jardín
jardín.
de flores.
Sí, sí. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Rachel. Y
Gracias.
gloriosita.
Gracias. Muchas gracias.
Be blessed, everyone, and please be part of the solution.
Por favor.
Soy parte de la
favor.
solución.
Oh, qué lindo.